Hi guys, I'm Jared, and today we're talking about what's new in board gaming as of September 10th, 2021. I'll be covering the latest news, announcements, most played games, hot new Kickstarters and crowdfunded games, and more related to board gaming for the past 2 weeks. At the end, I'll also be sharing what's going on behind the scenes with my YouTube channel, Meeple Mentor. So stick around, we've got a lot to cover. Leave me a like and comment on what kinds of updates that you want to hear more about. To make sure you don't miss any of my news updates, new video tutorials, and our podcast episodes, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and your preferred streaming platform. Up first for crowdfunding games, let's take a look at a couple you can back on GameFound. Mythic Mischief is a game of tactical traps and high-stakes hijinks. Lure opponents with vampires or toss them with trolls. Choose to control one of 7 asymmetric factions and use your abilities to manipulate everything on the board. It's for 1 to 4 players, with each game lasting 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Also on GameFound is the game 11 Football Manager board game. For 1 to 4 players, you're tasked with managing and growing your own football club and outperform other teams over the season. Hire staff, develop your stadium, sign up sponsors, transfer players, and play matches against other clubs. To be clear, this is not American football, but soccer as we call it in the US. It plays in 90 minutes. On Kickstarter, there's a number of funding board games, but also shelving for your games. Cloudpuncher Games is creating a special shelf system that is meant to be placed in the popular IKEA Kallax shelves. It's called Lax Racks and gives each of your games a horizontal shelf at any spacing needed to max out your Kallax shelf use. It's pretty clever. Paquetto has a new Mint game on Kickstarter, the 6th so far in the series, called Mint Mini. It's a light drafting game for 1 to 4 players. You're drafting for the opportunity to play one of 6 mini-games inspired by the previous Mint games. Backers will also receive new promos and add-ons that can be used in their previous full games, as well as a lunchbox designed to hold each Mint game in a single case. Richard Garfield and Justin Gary are funding a sequel to SoulForge, now called SoulForge Fusion Hybrid Deck Game. No 2 decks of cards will be the same, as you command powerful magic and summon legendary monsters in battle. Participate in organized tournament play as well. It's a 30-minute game for 2 to 4 players ages 14 and up. The Artemis Project is also seeing a sequel funding on Kickstarter called the Artemis Odyssey. It's for 1 to 5 players, where you control trailblazers crossing interstellar space to discover systems full of uninhabited planets, establish sustainable colonies, construct factories, and install terraformers. From Bruno Faiduti and Serge Laguette, it plays in 45 minutes. For a similar theme, but here on our planet, check out Earth Rising. It's a new cooperative board game funding on Kickstarter about saving the world. Create a sustainable future in 20 years, each taking the role of an asymmetric character like the climatologist, ecologist, activist, and more. It has hand management, engine building, type matching, and solo play available. It's for 1 to 6 players. For a light card game, check out Toxic People, a poker-style party game with bluffing and sabotage. The theme revolves around the terrible workers in an office that you have to deal with. Play action cards with special actions as well. It plays in under an hour for 2 to 6 people. Another party game called The Rules of Everything is about competing to see who has the most attention, memory span, and dexterity. Draw a card on your turn to tell you to do a challenge in one of these categories, following its printed rules. Succeed 10 times to win. There's much more to it than that, so check it out on Kickstarter if party games are your thing. Bounty Hunters is another light card game about trying to collect $52 to buy a horse. Find and turn in bounties to gain money. Choose one of 3 actions on your turn: send criminals to jail, steal a criminal card, or complete a bounty. It's for 2 to 4 players and plays in 10 to 45 minutes. If you're into abstract games, you've got a couple of days left to join the campaign for Pyramidland. It's a gravity-based strategy game using pillars and balls to build a pyramid. 2 to 8 players compete to successfully stack the balls on the board. A new and thematic dice placement game is funding called Solar Sphere: Harness the Power of the Stars. Compete against other captains to gain the most prestige for the corporation through deploying ships, gathering resources, hiring crew, fighting the resistance, and building the sphere. It's a 90-minute game that plays 1 to 5 players. Agemonia is a new, fully cooperative game with challenging moral choices set in an epic campaign for 1 to 4 players. It plays in 1 to 2 hours with an expansive campaign hosting over 30 unique scenarios and evolving maps. It features lots of minis, cards, and dual-layer boards. Join the campaign before it ends on September 21st. For a large dungeon crawler board game in a box, check out the new Dungeons of Infinity on Kickstarter. 1 to 5 players can play cooperative or competitively through over 30 dungeons in the campaign or in one of the 12 standalone scenarios. There's a dual-layer player board to track each of your stats and hold your items and equipment. There's a lot to it, so check out their Kickstarter campaign. A Viking's Tale is a new tactical and strategic card game inspired by Norse mythology and plays 2 to 4 people. It looks straightforward enough with some excellent artwork to boot. Each game should play in about 45 minutes. A Persian-themed semi-co-op big box game is funding fast called Shahsen Azada. Ignite the revolution, topple the Imperials, and emerge as the leader of your nation. The production value is huge and impressive, and looks like a lot of people are gonna like this game. Plus, its first print run will ship within weeks after the campaign ends. A new sci-fi tableau and action pool building game is funding now called Arcosa. Gain reputation and build your own bunker. Explore a planet, recruit colonists, build new rooms, keep everyone happy, gain resources, and make bribes. The art style on it looks very cool and hand-drawn with lots of color. Could be a really cool game if it funds. A unique game about a blown offshore oil rig called The Spill is on Kickstarter, which is kind of like a reverse tower defense game. Work together to contain the spill, remove what you can, and rescue the marine life to stop the disaster from escalating. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up and plays in 90 minutes. Bunny Brawl is a flipping, puntastic strategic card game about cute bunnies and chaotic violence. Assemble your kill squad and flip others' cards that are all double-sided. It looks like it has a lot of charm and heart to it, so we'll see. If you've been waiting for a deck building game with a theme you can relate to, how about Tournament Fishing, the deck building game? For 1 to 4 players, you can play solo, cooperatively, or competitively. It's very thematic and invokes the pace and feel of real fishing. Take a look, it's hitting high backing numbers already and is earning stretch goals. EOS, Island of Angels, is a new asymmetric engine builder game where you are captain to a crew of heroes. Set sail to awake angels, fight demons, and gain glory. It's for 2 to 5 players and includes some worker placement mechanisms as well. This is a huge game with miniatures, cards, player boards, and excellent artwork to immerse you in its theme. Join the campaign by the 27th. In board game industry news, you may remember the Broken Token CEO Greg Spence was recently accused of sexual misconduct by a former employee. After losing tons of publisher contracts over it and laying off over half the staff, Spence has decided to step down from the role and transfer his duties to Kelsey Royer. The fallout continues. The numbers are in from Kickstarter, with tabletop game projects funded and money raised up 22% in the first half of 2021, $146 million up from last year's same period numbers of $120 million. These are impressive numbers given that the new crowdfunding platform GameFound started being a competitor to them in late 2020. With Gen Con and Origins Game Fair coming up, some publishers are backing out due to the still rising cases of COVID-19. Plaid Hat Games announced it will sit out of conventions the rest of the year. IDW Games is closing its doors due to rising trade costs. The company released popular games like Machikoro, Starfall, Outpost, and more. Their projects of Metal Gear Solid and Lock and Key games are cancelled, but they remain committed to finishing its announced Ghostbusters Cross Men in Black game and the all-in expansions for Batman the Animated Series game. Wizards of the Coast just filed a patent extension on the Android Netrunner trademark. Not much is known yet what their plans are, but fans of the game are hopeful this is a good sign they'll be making new content and reprinting the game. Catan is getting its own official beer, backed by Catan Studio itself. They've partnered with Champion Brewing to make a limited series of beers based on each Catan biome tiles. So the fields will get a wheat beer, pastures a rye, and mountains a German Schwarzbier. You get the idea. Also in Catan news, several murals are being commissioned worldwide to celebrate Catan and its effect on the gaming community. The first was just unveiled in Chicago on August 26th at Surge Coffee Bar and Billiards. Let's talk now about new games just announced. If you're familiar with current video games, you may be aware of the bullet hell shooter game Cuphead. Well, now Cuphead is getting a tabletop dice game for 1 to 4 players. It plays in 30 to 45 minutes and has players working together to damage level bosses using personal attack dice unique to their characters. It's called Cuphead Fast Rolling Dice Game, and it's coming to retail this October. Sticking with the video game themed board games, Steamforged Games has a few announcements. First is about their new Horizon Zero Dawn series. The core game and 3 expansions are coming later this year to retail, which was previously just for Kickstarter backers. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up. The expansions coming in order are the Sacred Land, the Thunderjaw, and the Stormbird expansion. These will be $60 or $70 each. In addition, they'll be sending the Resident Evil 3 board game to retail with its first expansion in October. The first expansion is called City of Ruin. It's a cooperative game for 1 to 4 players based on the game mechanics introduced in their Resident Evil 2 board game. The expansion will offer 9 new scenarios and locations to play through. Funko Games has released the titles of new games coming this holiday season. All are Christmas themed. They're for ages 6 and up. There's Disney's Chip 'n Dale Christmas Treasures, Disney Cookie Swap Card Game, Jingle All the Way, It's Turbo Time, Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas Making Christmas Card Game, and Disney Princess Present Party. Most of them can be pre-ordered now on their website. From Renegade Game Studios, 4 new expansions were announced for Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. Rangers United adds new Rangers as well as Corrupted Rangers. Dino Thunder Pack adds Dino Rangers and the evil Dino Thunder White. Ranger Allies Pack 2 adds more Power Rangers including Jungle Fury Wolf Ranger, Hyperforce Green Ranger, Green Samurai Ranger, Silver Space Ranger, and Titanium Ranger. Lastly, the Villain Pack 4, A Dark Turn, adds new villains to the game like Astronema, Mesogog, and Zeltrax. The Star Wars Legion tabletop miniatures game is getting a new miniature, the NR-N99 Persuader class tank droid unit. The model comes unpainted and with 9 upgrade cards to customize its loadout. Plus, the expansion provides a pair of optional B-1 battle droids. Fantasy Flight Games is releasing a new Game of Thrones board game known as Betwixt. Coming this November, players try to gain control over the small councils of King's Landing, amass power by gaining allies and power tokens. Use influence cards to add allies, but they are shared with your neighbors. It plays in 90 minutes and will retail for $29.95. Board and Dice announced Founders of Teotihuacan coming in the first quarter next year. It's a city-building strategy game related in theme to their beloved game, Teotihuacan City of Gods. This is a standalone tile-laying game that uses action discs, form towers, use bonuses, construct temples, and add resource buildings and pyramids to the city. Also from Board and Dice, Tekkenu is getting its first expansion this October called Time of Seth. The expansion adds a new military aspect to the game, with players able to send soldiers to confront Egypt's neighbors. Also, priests and artifacts are added to the gameplay, offering more ways to strategize and score points. You'll need the base game to play. From the designer of Mysterium and Detective Club comes a new worker placement game called Settlement. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 10 and up, and plays in 45 to 90 minutes. It's a mid-weight Euro where players are leaders of settlers in pursuit of new lands. Use artifacts to explore terrains, hunt monsters, construct buildings, and create outposts. It will release at Essenspiel in October this year. AEG announced a new card game coming this November called Dog Lover. Take care of your initial dog card by playing various cards like fetching, collecting bones, and gathering food. Rescue dogs from the shelter and train their puppies to do new tricks. Whoever fulfills their dog's needs and train them the most by the end wins. It plays in 30 minutes and will retail for $24.99. From Floodgate Games, check out Vivid Memories for 2 to 4 players ages 13 and up. Featuring art by Andrew Bosley, it's a game about gathering fragments of childhood memories, drafting them to your mind board. Manipulate them on your board to get sets of pieces together to create key whole memories. Game designer Bruno Faiduti also has a new strategy card game coming at the end of the year called Dreadful Circus. Take on the roles of circus directors trying to create an unforgettable circus performance. Bid on cards played by sellers who can agree or send it back. Collect card sets of circus cards, contracts, and coins to earn victory points. It's for 4 to 8 players and plays in about 45 minutes. Unstable Games is releasing a tic-tac-toe fighting card game called Tic-Tac-KO, and it's a team card game for 2 to 4 players with Team Dragons versus Team Unicorns. Fulfill 3 objectives before the other team to win by controlling the grid with character cards. It will retail for $15 and is currently on pre-order. A ninja-themed social deduction game was announced from Brotherwise Games from designer Justin Gary. Gary previously created popular titles like Ascension and Shards of Infinity. Night of the Ninja is for 4 to 11 players ages 12 and up and plays in 15 to 30 minutes. You must figure out who your opponents are with various ninja roles possible. To win, you must kill the leader of the opposing ninja house. This past week on the Meeple Mentor Channel, the tutorial for Cryo was released from Z-Man Games. I'm a big fan of this game, both in terms of gameplay and art, so I wanted to make a tutorial to help everyone dive into it. AEG was nice enough to send me an early copy of Cascadia by Randy Flynn and art by Beth Sobel. You can watch the unboxing video of that on the channel to see all its components and art inside. I've played it a couple times since opening it, and I really like it. It's a good terrain building and pattern building game with a nature theme. I also released a tutorial video for the popular party game Codenames by Vlada Chavatal. Yes, I occasionally cover light games, and I had fun making this video because I included some green screen fun. I acted out a couple scenes to demonstrate certain concepts with multiple copies of myself in the shot, playing different characters. It's pretty funny, so I hope you enjoy it. Even if you think you know how to play Codenames, you may find out there's a lot of rules and caveats to the clues you're allowed to give that you didn't realize, such as being allowed to give 0 or unlimited as a clue number for your word. Check it out. In the latest Jay's Takeaways, he discussed why he likes Century Spice Road. It comes highly recommended, and if you haven't played it yet, listen to his thoughts on it. You may want to go out and pick up a copy. Meanwhile, I've been making a lot of short recommendation videos exclusively for the Luck Factory Games Cafe in Concord, North Carolina. It's called Off the Shelf, and I pull a game to talk about why it's great and why you should play it. These videos will be exclusively shown at Luck Factory Games, so if you're in town, head over there and tell them I sent you. Lastly, Jay and I have a new podcast episode coming this Tuesday where we got to interview Paul Solomon from Genius Games about games he's designed. We talked about Genotype and his other big title, Honeybuzz. I hope you guys enjoy hearing from such an excellent game designer. Thanks for tuning in to today's news update. I appreciate your support. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.